are moments where we want to judge and criticize a person. Often it is someone that we have dealings with regularly, someone that is close to us, could be a family member. No, because of the level of relationship where we feel we can say everything we want, but to a certain degree we feel safe because there'll be no consequences. For instance, we might have a bigger filter when it comes to the work environment because the consequences are great socially and also in terms of work, and also with other people we might have a higher level of tolerance and not care as much because consequences don't affect us as much. Whereas a relative, a family member that we have dealings with on a regular basis, we are more intertwined. Our level of tolerance is lower. And also we can expect certain behaviors based on data from previous experiences. So we might have an expectation that they behave in a certain way. Also, we might show our true colours, our full self, whereas in a different environment we might be selective as to what we want others to see. For instance, we might be more patient with strangers, friends, workers, colleagues, but then be less patient with our loved ones. We might speak assertively in the environments where more is at stake, and then be more passive or aggressive in environments where we are showing our full self. There are moments where we want to judge and criticize because the other person has behaved in a way that makes us feel hurt, disappointed, sad, and even angry. Either behave in a certain way or did not behave in a certain way, and we expected them to behave in a different way and they didn't. And while our automatic reaction might be one of anger, and we might want to take that energy and go straight to the attack, and if you choose to go with that automatic reaction of saying something verbally, or verbally lashing out, or putting the other person down, or judging or labeling, or globalizing the behavior. We could say things such as, you never do this, you don't do this, you don't care about me, or you don't care about us, or have a negative label, you are selfish, or even worse. Now, we can go ahead with that automatic reaction because we feel entitled in a moment, because we are feeling angry, and we feel that we're going to give a piece of our mind to the other person as a way of punishing, as a way of showing how much they've hurt us, as a way of making sure that they don't engage in that behavior in the future, as a way of asserting our authority. That might be our automatic reaction. It's a way of showing that we are deeply hurt and upset and this thing really matters for them to learn a lesson. However, often that actually does not work, because by attacking, more often than not, they will put up their defense mechanism of defending their behavior, defending their ego, or even making them retreat and isolate or not come on board. And then we feel further hurt, further disappointed, and we lose and they lose. We feel more aggravated, they feel more upset, feel more angry, and we can be heads and heads fight and it goes nowhere. Equally, we could just ignore, totally ignore, don't say anything, and then feel bitter and resentful and withdraw and hope that they would say something like, oh, I notice you're upset. Would you like to talk? Would you like? And give you that space to hear and listen and come on board and maybe apologize. But then they don't. They just leave you to process your own stuff. Either because they are not sensitive enough, or they don't know how to approach, or because they have too much on their own and they don't want to take on more stuff, or because they don't really want to deal with potential conflict. So either way, you can go for the kill, you can sulk and feel resentful. That will not solve anything, will only make matters worse. So when we fight, we feel worse, they feel worse, we don't solve the situation. When we are passive aggressive, we feel worse and we don't solve, we withdraw and we don't solve, we feel resentful. And it's hard to shift and let go. It's hard to make peace and be at peace. And we might have observed and learned either behavior, and we might have lived and used those behaviors, and that's what our brain knows. That's what we know what to do. And there's no our fault. It's not our fault that we've learned and observed others. And it's not others' faults either, because they did the best they knew at the time and the best they could at the time. However, now we have another opportunity. We have another opportunity to learn a different skill, to behave slightly different in a way that is healthier, empowering, in a way that gets a win-win, a way that is respectful, a way that is assertive. So before we go in, or take a moment to calm down, let go of that frustration, let go, exhale, and let go of that anger, exhale, and again release the anger, releasing and relaxing the face and the tongue and the throat. Release any tension you might have in the shoulders and the hands and the neck. Rotate one side and then rotate the other. Okay, take it there. Take a deep breath in through the belly, and out through the mouth. Take another deep breath in through the nose into the belly, and exhale. Release the tongue. Now we can just retreat, but don't isolate indefinitely. Just retreat to a place where you can find your grounding, your calm, so you don't feel triggered, so you can get in touch. What am I feeling? What are my feelings? What do I feel? and just acknowledge the feelings. Anger to start with, or frustration or irritation, and a milder form of anger. And behind this irritation, frustration and anger, what do I feel? Often we feel disappointed, let down, sad, concerned, worried. Take a breath in and a breath out. Let's be compassionate to ourselves. Compassion for our struggles, our suffering. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's send some loving and healing energy to the mind, the body, the heart. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now we can go with the automatic reaction, or we can look at the choices we have. One choice is to let go. Decide that, is this worth my time, energy? Is confronting this worth? And if the answer is no, then let go. However, if it's something that does crop up and needs addressing, and you'd like the other person to understand, to come on board, to be considerate, to be respectful, to be mindful of it, and you wish to be assertive, even though assertiveness is not a guarantee that the other person will take in, come on board, accept. But we are choosing to address this from an assertive manner. We don't just let it go because we don't have the courage, because we're trying to avoid conflict. We're choosing to address it, but not aggressively or passive aggressive, like we just might say a remark. Oh, nothing, said nothing. We're actually choosing to address it directly, up front. Take a breath into the belly. And slowly out. What is that I wish in this moment? What is that I wish that the other person engaged in? Instead of criticizing, how could I communicate this in a different manner? Instead of saying, you're selfish, you don't care for me, I could communicate my preference, my wants, my desires, my wishes. Obviously, we need to be realistic. Things need to be realistic. We can't expect that someone will come on board with everything. But we can express a wish that is reasonable and is for the other person to come on board or not, and we have to respect their decision. But we've done our part in communicating. So instead of saying you're selfish, you don't care about me, you could say, I wish you'd thought this through. I wish that you would check with me. I wish that you would think about how this would impact me. Or I feel upset because you engage in this behavior. And I wish that you would have thought about me and did this differently. So wish is not a demand. It's just an opportunity to express our preference. So this way the person can see how their behavior, or not behaving in a certain way, has impacted us negatively. Of course, we can still wish and ask and have our preferences, but the other person might still feel that they do not want to. Either they can't, or they do not wish to come on board with our wishes and preferences, because they may not have the capacity, because they may be upset, because they have too much going on their plate, because they have different priorities, because they don't value the same thing that we do, because they are not seeing our point of view, because they don't think or care about someone else's full point. Because they need something else, because they have a different value. That's on them. We are just acting with integrity. We are acting with responsibility. We are acting from a place where we manage our energy, from a place where we choose our values and we act in line with our values. Let's take a breath for a moment. And out. Breathe in. Breathe out. What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of behavior do I want to engage in? Breathe in. Breathe out. We might feel this is what I want to do in this moment as an impulse. But just because it feels like the right thing to do in this moment does not mean that is the best thing for me, for the other person, now mid and long term. I might have the impulse to hit and punch on the most extreme negative. But just because I have that impulse doesn't mean I should do. I might have an impulse to grab for another bag of crisps or chocolate, or even have an extra substance that is not healthy for me. Just because I have that impulse. I might have an impulse to, I don't know, in a more positive way, kiss someone. Doesn't mean that I should kiss someone. So we can have impulses that are pleasurable, such as eating something that is comforting, sugary, salty, crunchy. Yes, because it makes us feel better in the moment. But each time that we are stressed and angry, if we reach for those substances, now might be okay, but mid-long term will contribute to bigger weight gain and loss of self-esteem and loss of energy. Because when we have extra unnecessary weight, it's harder to do things with ease. On the more extreme behaviors, we might engage in unhealthy drinking, which might soothe in the moment, but then mid-long term create bigger problems. Or we might reach for the one person that makes us feel better. And if you cross the boundaries between what is acceptable and the trust, you might break the trust and hurt someone else's. So just because we have an impulse, if someone says something mean, you might feel like, say if your son or daughter says something very hurtful or insults you, you might have the impulse to slap them on the face. But just because you have an impulse doesn't mean you should do it. An impulse is just an automatic reaction based on the brain thinking that we are not safe physically, mentally. Our ego is not safe. We might have a rule that has been broken, something they would never cross, and someone has crossed the line. So we might feel indignant and we might feel justified, but a feeling is not a fact. Just because we feel something doesn't mean we need to engage in that behavior. We have to check with ourselves. Breathe in. Breathe out. I might feel like taking something from the shop, but just because I feel doesn't mean I should. Meaning without pain. So, what are my impulses? What are my feelings in this moment? Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's not be judgmental. Let's be compassionate. Just because we have a thought does not mean that we should put ourselves down, beat ourselves up, judge and criticize because we have just a thought. Our brain is a machine that creates many thoughts. They range from neutral categories, negative categories, positive categories if you want to. Compartmentalize in 3 categories. There's nuances of that. We can think of the worst possible thing through catastrophizing, but you can also think about the best possible thing. Our minds are vivid and creative. At its best, supported and creates amazing creative inventions and relationships and behaviors. At its worst, it destroys ourselves and others and things. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So, what values do we want to uphold and live our life by? Do you want to have the value of being judgmentally or providing constructive criticism where is needed and relevant? Being mean or being kind? Being unfair or being fair? Being dehumanized or being a human being that recognizes that all humans are perfect and also imperfect, engaged in positive behaviors and negative behaviors, sometimes get it right, sometimes get it wrong. What values do I want to live my life by? Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Before I choose to approach the person and address it, let's do some checks with ourselves. Is what we're thinking and assuming, is it true? And what we want to say to the other person, is it true? Let's think before. Is it true? Take a breath in. And slowly out. Is what I'm going to say helpful? Or what can I say what I want to say in a helpful manner? Helpful to me, helpful to the other person, helpful for the circumstance, helpful in resolving, in solving, and not creating more problems. Take a breath in. And exhale. In what way can I say what I have to say and do what I have to do in an inspirational manner? Inspiring to me and inspiring to the person to engage in a different behavior. Inspiring so that they connect with their altruistic part, with their best part, and not their destructive part. Inspiring that we will encourage them to do the best they can, and inspiring to me too. So we both feel good on the receiving end of it. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just take a moment to calm the mind, calm the body quietly. Allow the breathing to rise and fall naturally. In what way can I communicate and do what I need to do in a respectful manner? Respectful to me, respectful to the other person. And can I say it or do it in a kind manner? Kind to me, kind to the other. Can I use a kind word? Can I choose and use my kind words to express my wishes and preferences instead of using of my harsh words to judge, criticize, put down? Can I do this in this moment? If I can't and I'm unable to, then I'm still flooded with the stress hormones of cortisol, norepinephrine, and is pumping through my veins and is making my body fight or flight, run away from my survival. So if I want to have, I might fight and I might get what I want. However, it's likely that the other person might feel coerced into doing something out of fear, out of trying to avoid a conflict rather than wanting, and that can leave bitterness and resentment. You can break a camel, but you can never make a happy beast. You can make them do something, but it will never make a happy beast. You can force someone to do something, but it will never make them happy. And while it's not your job to make them happy, but you can break their spirit unnecessarily. Not only we destroy them, but the minute we get a moment to calm ourselves, the moment that we gain some experience and wisdom throughout our life, the minute that we have a different experience that allow, or perhaps the same experience, or to be on the receiving end of it, then we realize how destructive it is. And we might feel guilty, ashamed of our behavior, or shame. However, we're not here to beat ourselves up. We're here to recognize that there are options that we can engage in. And often our first automatic reaction is not necessarily the best solution. It is an alarm that tells us, our body, that something is not right and we need to check it. It is an alarm, because just because the alarm goes on doesn't mean that there's a fire. It's just prompting our body to check. Am I feeling safe? Am I feeling threatened in any way? If I don't feel safe physically, then I should take the responsibility to ask for help by removing myself from this situation. Ask for help. Speak with a doctor, a health provider, and mental health crisis, the police. Take anyone that I feel responsible for if I can, or ask a stranger on the street. If I am emotionally not safe, then taking steps to increasing that safety. Again, speak with a health provider so you can be supported all the way. However, if we are feeling safe and we've done the check, just the body automatically reacting, perhaps we feel more stressed, more vulnerable. So our automatic is a little stronger. Perhaps we have been viewing this person in a negative light and discounting all the neutral and positive traits and behaviors that they have. Perhaps we are feeling low in mood and depressed, so we are struggling to see the good in ourselves, others, and the world. Perhaps we haven't been engaging in activities that makes us feel calm, relaxed, good, because we have been observing things beyond of our control that makes us feel anxious and worried and concerned and frustrated and angry. Just take a breath. Let's take a moment to take a breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe. We make sure that we are connected with our values, that we choose the way that we want to respond, that we choose when the best time to approach and deal with the situation. Time is important so that you can be at your best from a calm space, grounded space, knowing your wants and needs, and can assert in a respectful, kind manner. But also the timing for the other person. If the other person is dysregulated, then it's not the right time, because they are on a fight mode and anything can be perceived as an attack. You have to be incredibly skilled at being able to stay calm and receive whatever the other person has to vomit if they are dysregulated, without taking it in, because it is a reflection of what they are feeling in the moment and their ability to manage their thinking, their behavior. And to be on the receiving end of that without getting agitated or aggravated or losing your calm and your foot. It is a skill that we can do, but it can be a little harder if you have been engaging in conflict and fighting. So choosing our timing when we are both at our best, in a calm state, not in a dysregulated state. When we have eaten, not when we are hungry. Yes, is that word again. Because when we need food and hydration, talking about problems is not the best timing. Because the body is already overstretched and is going to go with balancing our sugar levels as a priority. When we are not rested, having another problem is not a priority. So being patient is choosing our timing so that we can communicate, educate for the best benefits is a time investment. We're choosing a time that is most efficient, and we might want to go straight for the solution. I want the solution right now, this minute. Sometimes the person is not able to, and your words will be just wasted. Your time and energy will be wasted. You can just write it down, and then when it's time to address, you can address it, so you don't worry about forgetting and have to keep it in your mind so that you don't forget it. But it's also not trying to ruin someone else's experience or bring it up when they bring one of yours. So that you're bringing something up, I bring something up, so we are even. No. Just, I'd like to raise something with you. When is the best time? I'd like to address something that I'm not happy with. When is the best time? Then let the person come to you when they're ready. And if they have an interest in the relationship, and we hope they do, then that time will appear. And if they don't, then you have to accept that that is a part of them. And then at a later stage, you decide how to deal with it. If you have that confirmation that they don't come on board to listen to minimum. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. I sincerely hope that you are feeling a little calmer. And when you choose to solve and communicate yourself, may it be from a place of feeling connected, grounded, where you express your wishes in a kind, respectful, considerate manner, so that you come away, I've done the best I could, I've done my part, and someone else's reaction is on them. So you can walk away with your head high, knowing that you are living in life with your values and preferences. We can use our anger and press our anger button. Be selective. Because while we might protect us into safety if needed, this also has many catastrophic negative impacts now, mid and long term, for our health and relationships. So let's be selective. Let's choose when we use anger, and when it's best to just stay in irritation or frustration and then bring it down to feeling calm and being able to communicate our wants, needs and preferences in an assertive manner, communicating our wishes, and hope that they will be heard. And if they're not, then we make space for acceptance. But at least we've done our part, and we've done our part in line with the person that we want to be and the values we want to live our life by. And when we do it, we'll feel less stress, we'll feel healthier and happier long term. You are doing the best you can. So well done, you. Don't beat yourself up. And if you fail, don't worry, just learn your lessons, learn your vulnerabilities, and then take a moment to rest, to ground yourself, and then pick yourself up again and try again. Because habits take time to learn, to practice, to do differently. So, just because you might not be managing this moment does not mean that you cannot learn this skill in a matter of time and practice. You will. Take good care. Love from my heart. You go there. Give them a piece of your mind. That's my silly side. What do you think you are? What do you think you are? Okay, it's good to have a choice, isn't it?